Hi, my name is Larry Jetto and it's Morbin time. Welcome to another instance of Guy explains useless software projects while telling awful jokes for about 10 minutes. So there I was, bored from my boring life watching YouTube, specifically a Dudu video. If you don't know him, he's the guy who can literally play any song on the guitar just by listening to it. It's a little talent known as being a freaking legend. In some of his videos he goes to Omegle, asks people for songs, and proceeds to play them on the guitar. The man is like a rock star. That is, if rock stars never show their faces, stayed in their room, and never got laid. After watching a couple of his videos, I thought that I could also make a video using Omegle as well. The problem is that I can't pick up songs by ear, and I'm pretty bad at playing guitar. So what could I do? What are my talents besides losing all my hair in my 20s? Well, I can program, so what about I troll people in Omegle and make them talk to a bot instead of an actual human? For those of you who've never come across Omegle before, it's probably time to pause the video, do some stretching, and take some ibuprofen for your back. You're getting old, that's the joke there. Omegle is a website where you can connect with people and chat with them either via text or video. In both cases, it's very likely you just connect with a pervert who's just looking to see some boobies. They also have an unmoderated section, but trust me when I say you don't want to go in there. Unless your goal is to see more penises in 5 minutes than a porn actress on her entire career. You could build a house with the amount of wood on that section. The other piece of the puzzle is the bot who is going to talk to people in Omegle instead of me. I could code this both from scratch, but there's a major problem with that. I don't know how. And also, a good one already exists, so I'll just reuse it. Kind of what Disney did with all the live action movies, and everybody loved those, am I right? I could draw stickmans who show more emotions on their faces than Simba when Mufasa dies. The bot chosen to talk to people is, drumroll please, Cleverbot! On this website we can talk to a bot. We type in something and it comes back at us with an answer. It's not the best thing in the world and people might be able to pick it up. But, as I said, people are not looking for bots on this website. They're looking for boobies. So what's the game plan here? Okay guys, our first move is going to be made by Stroke Mike over there. He's going to somehow pass the ball to One-Eyed Joe, the iPad is for my butthole, and finally crossing it to Late William. Does anybody has any questions about this? Over here coach, if a train is traveling at 80 cheeses per burger, how long... Excuse me, are you making scrambled eggs right now? It's a deconstructed omelette, you brunch ignorant. Code, can you explain it please? Sure thing boss. First we need to have Omegle and Cleverbot opened up in different windows. Then we start a conversation in Omegle and wait for somebody to message us. After that we copy that message and paste it onto Cleverbot. When the bot answers, I'll send the message back to Omegle and type in the response. Then the cycle repeats itself until the conversation is over. And you guys still wonder why he's the only one that does the talking. What a bunch of useless donuts. What the hell, man? Hey guys, is it over yet? Before I started coding, I already knew that sending the messages between the two websites was going to be the hardest part of this project. Well, everyone in the unmoderated section is a lot harder than this, but let's not get into that. The first thing I tried to do was to send a message between the two browser windows, but that didn't work very well. It turns out I can only do that if the two websites are under the same domain. For example, if one website is omegle.com and the other one is don'tletyourchildrenusethisomegle.com, this might have worked. Probably. I haven't actually tried. I thought about it for a bit and the idea came to me while I was in the toilet. It's just amazing what you can figure out when you're not looking at memes while shitting. The solution for this is quite simple. Instead of having the two pages sending messages directly to each other, I could have a middleman whose responsibility is to receive messages from one page and deliver it to the other. So it works like the post office, except this one will actually deliver things on time and it won't leave a TV at your doorstep, hoping that nobody will steal it. To get the messaging working, I wrote 3 scripts. one for Omegle, one for Cleverbot, and the last one for the middleman. The first script will send a message to the middleman, which will forward it to Cleverbot. Cleverbot will receive the message, print it, and send another message to Omegle through the middleman. Finally, Omegle receives the message and prints it as well. Now that the middleman is working fine, it's time to work on the website scripts. Starting with Omegle, we only want to do stuff when the text or video buttons are pressed. Next step is to collect receiving messages, and this is not done in a pretty way, but it works. The conversation will start with 0 messages, and I'll wait for a stranger to text me. So I'm just pretending to be a girl on a dating app. Then I'll check every half a second if that number of messages goes up, and if it does, I collect the last message and ignore the stranger for a week, as you do in dating apps. As you can see, I'm printing out the number of messages the stranger has typed and the last message I received. So now it's just a matter of picking up these messages and sending them to Cleverbot. On the Cleverbot side of things, I want to pick up the messages that I'm receiving from Omegle, type them in input and click on this button. When the bot answers me, I need to pick up its response and send it back to Omegle. Finally, on the Omegle script, I need to take the message sent by Cleverbot, type it in the input and hit enter. This is the part that will repeat over and over again until someone ghosts the other person. And that's it, fully done, easy breezy, completely functioning, right? So there's a couple of problems here. Number one, I need to go to the bathroom. So that's how we can solve global warming. Problem number two is that if I keep using the same Cleverbot conversation, the messages will get pretty messed up. This happens because Cleverbot takes into account the messages from the previous Omegle conversation. It feels like talking to a 4-year-old because they know how to make sentences, but they don't know how to be in a conversation. Hey buddy, this one time I walked into my parents' bedroom and my dad was like on my mom's belly and their noses were white. What? The fix for this problem is somewhat simple. When this guy appears, it means that someone disconnected. At that time, I send a message to Cleverbot saying that the conversation is over. On the Cleverbot side, when I receive the message, I hit this button, which leads to start the conversation from scratch. It improved the whole thing a bit, but it still led to some awkward moments. And the other day, my sister was drinking wine and she gave it to me and I fell asleep right away. Hello, social services? Third and final problem, I was typing the messages way too fast. A couple of people started to get suspicious and discovered that a bot was talking to them. Again, the fix is simple. I just need to type the letters slower instead of typing them like I drank a pack of Red Bull infused with ecstasy. After these fixes, the whole thing was kind of working, so I spent about 4.5 hours in Omegle with it, and this is how it went. I guess it's fair to say that throughout my journey I found a little bit of everything. Starting with people who don't even say anything and just disconnect. Which is a missed opportunity because you never know who's on the other side. Is it a human? Is it a robot? Is it Mark Zuckerberg, which qualifies as both? You will never find out. When the person doesn't disconnect, they usually start the conversation by saying either M, which stands for male, or F, which stands for female. To which Cleverbot responded, "Que tal? Come te chiami?" Oktoberfest Rammstein? I don't even know what language this is, but a demon got summoned into my room after a couple of messages. We're pretty good friends now. As one would expect, most people disconnected when presented with the answers we saw. After that happened a couple of times, these things started to appear and it became a little bit more aggressive. At this point, I spent more time solving these than on actual conversations, and I've gained the ability to smell crosswalks and traffic lights. At the end of the day, it's a good thing that this system exists, because I've lost count on how many bots I found. Some were advertising Snapchat accounts, and a couple of them honestly felt like you were talking to an actual person, which makes me think that I probably chose the wrong bot for this video. One evidence for that statement is that the stupid Cleverbot kept trying to unmask itself. I mean, come on, are you with me or against me? But it wasn't only itself that Cleverbot tried to unmask, it also tried to discover other bots. Unfortunately, that was a bigger flop than Morbius, because every person who was asked that was clearly a human. In the midst of all these failed attempts, I did manage to pull off 2 decent conversations. Meet codename Bollywood, an 18-year-old man from India which started a little bit defensive, passed the bot test, asked me if I was high because that explains it, and proceeded to roll a joint and get high with me, stating afterwards that I was great. We talked about movies, colors, and then Cleverbot tried to verify our body identity again for some reason. The second somewhat good conversation was with codename Bot Crush. She started to say that she was a little bit sick because it's rainy yesterday, and what happened next might shock you, as Cleverbot attempts the best pickup line you've ever seen. Do you like knives? He formally asked. Why? She responded. Blinks, because I like you. Of course the answer was, ah, such a cutie, ha ha ha. If you say this to your crush and she's still not convinced, you can follow up with, Legos are small plastic building blocks. If this doesn't make her panties drop, it's because she's not wearing any. I have 2 honorable mentions here. One of them is a pretty good burn by Cleverbot, who asked the man his name and proceeded to say, Max is a dog's name. This is why you should always put sunscreen before you go online. The other one was this fine fella, that when asked what he was doing replied, shitting God out of my asshole. I believe this is an impossible task to do unless you pray a lot and have a little bit of faith. And that's it for the video. Thanks for sticking to the end. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe, because if you don't, I will find you and Cleverbot you. Which means I'll just send some gibberish text to you, probably in a foreign language, you know, something like bonjour, ciao bella, auf Wiedersehen. Yep, that's it. Bye.